Welcome back to Make a Video Your Business. Today I'm joined by my friend Kaffy from Voice Confident. Thanks for joining me.
No, you're very welcome.
I wanted to chat to you on camera about confidence on camera because that's what you do. But before we do that, can you give me a bit of an overview of who is Kaffy and where have you come from and where are you now?
So I started doing this because I'm a singer. I've been a singer for a long time. But 20 years ago when I was singing and I was training to be a singer, I had horrific stage fright to the point that I was having to be pushed onto the stage, to the point that I actually gave up singing, stopped pursuing a professional career. And because of that experience, and it took me years and years to sort that out for myself, and because of my experience in knowing that my voice and my singing, was something that I wanted to give, but I wasn't able to do that because of my stress response. So I looked into this to a crazy amount and worked out that it's basically all comes down to your nervous system regulation, that if you have an outlandish stress response, you need to be dealing with your nervous system. It's not a sign that you're not good enough. It's not a sign that you can't handle it. But some of us have quite excessive stress responses, can be very complicated. But yeah, it all comes down to nervous system regulation. So I started to do this. I was attending business clubs in a different capacity a few years ago. And I was seeing lots of people at business clubs who, as soon as it was their turn to speak, you could see it happening. You could see the shaking, get the wobbly voice or the loud, very sort of low voice, the crackly voice. And I was thinking, this is awful because I know exactly what that feels like. But at the end of the day, if you're talking about your business and you're looking so nervous doing it, that's not going to instill confidence, in your potential clients or collaborators that you know what you're talking about. So I thought, well, how can I help this group of people? Because I know so much about performance nerves, about anxiety, about nervous system regulation. So then I started writing, and I'm a former teacher as well. I was 12 years a full-time teacher. So I started writing. So I've written courses, written one-to-one programs in order to really help business owners and people in business to overcome those nerves and it's basically about being yourself in public, as you do all the time on camera. It's about being yourself just in a slightly different way, on camera or in public. And some people need more help with that than others.
I don't think it ever, I don't find it difficult anymore to be in front of people or in front of camera or whatever. But I was at the business club in Grantham last Friday. And, when there are 100 people in the room and it does come round to you and someone just thrusts you the mic, even I go, oh, it's my turn next. And you get that little sync, do you? That little sync. But it's fine. It's always fine. And as soon as I stand up and start talking, it's fine. But but even now, I think in that environment, because I think you just don't want to appear stupid or fumble your words or whatever.
When people have a lot of nerves, they think, oh, I can't do it, or I need to be stronger, or I need to be more confident. We have an evolutionary response. So, we have a reptilian brain that is running a lot of the stuff that we do. And there's three big things with public speaking that initially get you. One is the uncertainty. So you'll know that as human beings, our brains tend to look for the negative. We're always scanning for threats. And when we see those threats, we think of the most negative that can happen. And that, that's what we focus on. And public speaking, even just being given a mic at networking is an uncertain situation. You might drop the mic, you might fall over your chair.
It might not work.
It might not work. The uncertainty of that. So that's the first thing. The second evolutionary thing is being outnumbered. So as soon as you stand up and all the eyes are on you, you can be fine. It's going around the room and then it comes to you and suddenly, boom, you've got, 100 pairs of eyes on you or whatever. And this triggers because days of very early man, you didn't want to be in a situation where the whole tribe was looking at you. If the whole tribe's looking at you, probably something's gone wrong. You want to be within the tribe. This is where we are socially safe. So we don't like being outnumbered. And the other thing is we don't like social judgment. And again, this goes back to evolutionary times when you wanted to be middle or top of the tribe. You don't want to be at the bottom of the, you don't want the tribe not to like you, because if you're not part of the tribe, that means no shelter, no food. You're probably not going to live very long. So these are incredibly deep, primal concern. You can't undo your primal reaction to things that happen. We're not logic can't talk you out of these very primal sort of reactions. What you can do is learn to work with that. And I think as soon as I explain that to people, it actually just explaining that to people is kind of a flip in the mind. They go, oh, okay. yeah, it's completely normal. This stress response is completely normal. After that, it's how do we deal with that stress response? And there's loads of things that we can do. Exposure, so as you're saying, over time, exposure does help. And with most people, yeah, the more you do it, gets easier because you build confidence. You know, went fine last time, it'll probably be okay this time. Oh, I did that okay, you know, and you build up your confidence. With some people, so people like me with my stage fright, I was on stage all the time. It wasn't getting any better. So exposure, in some cases, doesn't help people. And the amygdala, the part of your brain which is scanning for threats, is also the bit of the brain that makes the memories. So you get into this spiral where you have you think something is threatening to you, then you have a bad experience and the memories, and then you come back the next time and your brain is telling you the last time we did this, it went really wrong.
Yeah.
Or that I was really uncomfortable the last time. And so you're building all of these negative memories. So sometimes it's actually better to stop with the exposure, sort out your nervous system, sort out all the different tools and techniques that you can use first, and then build the exposure in very gradually. You know, maybe going to a massive business club, maybe, you know, volunteering to do a 20-minute talk at a business club when you know you really find it incredibly difficult isn't the best thing. You know, there are things that there's work you can do, there's things you can learn to do, and then, yeah, build up the exposure.
I find that bit easier, personally. I actually think a little bit of fear is good.
It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
And, you know, the human stress response is amazing. Like, don't get me wrong. It's amazing. It's designed to keep us safe. We get a huge amount of energy. Our whole body goes into basically producing energy so that you can, you know, run away, or that's what it's for. And yes, it makes your cognitive function, it makes you very, very alert. It makes your decision making. We make snap judgments.
Super sharp.
Super, super sharp. So there are lots of benefits to it. It's with some people, it tips over into the sort of the freeze. And that's when you get the brain fog and, you know, everything stiffens up and you can't find the words and you can't remember it afterwards and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's all about harnessing the great things about the stress response, flipping it really into excitement rather than anxiety.
With the advent of social media becoming so prevalent and video content now being so important for marketing and brand, how have you seen, I guess, your business change, and how have you seen people's attitudes towards visuals change?
I think definitely everybody is waking up to the fact that we are all public speakers. The big gulf that there used to be between, you know, the people that would do talks and everyone else that would maybe do networking, that's not really a thing anymore, because even the people that wouldn't maybe put themselves forward to do a talk, they are doing podcasts, they are doing videos, they are, you know, seeking to be visible in a way that a few years ago maybe they weren't. And also I think the concept of public speaking being, you know, at the front with a lectern and a mic, people are realizing now that whenever you speak, networking, meetings, when you address your team, these are all public speaking occasions, and actually you have the same response to them and you need the same skills. You know, you need to be able to speak clearly, you need to be able to articulate your thoughts well, just as much in a meeting as you would addressing 200 people. I'm always talking to people who work in schools because I think that we need to be doing a lot more with our young people about speaking and listening, and recognizing that with the advent of AI, they need to be almost more real. They need to be able to be themselves in the room, however many people are there, because the old reliance on your written work, you know, how good you were at producing reports or something, in the future, actually, I think that the personal, like being able to show up yourself and make a case for yourself and to speak well and clearly, to articulate your thoughts, I think all of those skills are just going to become more and more and more important.
There is a place for AI, and there was actually asked ChatGPT yesterday whether there was still a place for creative content in an AI dominated world, just to see what its response would be.
Yeah.
And it said that it's very important that the human element is still in there, because the AI element can't do things that humans can do, and it's a symbiotic relationship. And I don't know whether you would agree with me or not, but people have it, they sort of feel like it's this thing that's just separate almost from their marketing strategy and everything else. Your video content, whether it's this or something directly advertising your services or directly doing whatever, it's just sales and advertising. It's sales and advertising. That's all it is. It's just advertising yourself as expert and hopefully encouraging people to watch you and think that guy, that girl, that, you know, that person, they've got something that I think we could use. I don't know whether you agree with that or not, but
yeah, well, it's interesting, isn't it? I think, I mean, you know, as an artist, I sort of, I really hope we're heading for a time when the visual arts, when singers and musicians and dancers are all appreciated, and actors are all appreciated more than perhaps they have been in the past. You know, because as you say, race for real. So, you know, we have a lot of real artists who mostly in this country are paid next to nothing. And I hope that maybe there'll be a rebalancing. I mean, you remember the awful adverts during COVID. For example, there was that ballet dancer when it was, the ballet dancer can retrain to be a cyber analyst or something. It's like, we need ballet. You know, we need our arts. You know, the arts are part of being human. We need all our artists and musicians in this country. So I'm hoping that will hopefully big up that industry a bit. But yeah, the visibility side is interesting. So you said earlier that you're quite happy if someone gives you a mic and a time slot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the same as you, you know, give me a mic and a time slot.
No bother. Yeah.
What might be harder for both of us, because some people would hate that, but what might be harder for both of us is that the taking up space thing. So, you know, when you're in a meeting of a group of people and you're not sure whether it's your turn to speak, and you know, if you speak and you think, I've gone on a bit long here, I'd better stop. So I mean, I find meetings much harder than if someone gives me a couple of hundred people on a mic and a screen. Like, that's my comfort zone. So I think nerves are very contextual. So some people, and as I said to you, I find anything that's recording much more difficult. And I think that's because, like you, I grew up in a time where we had no camera phones.
Yeah.
Nothing really was recorded.
Yes, thankfully.
Thankfully,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, went through university with that. Yeah, exactly.
Thankfully,
but you know, you're someone in my family had a video camera. We didn't have one. My aunt had one. So when we went to events with my aunt, the video camera would be out. We're like, you know, what a novelty. I mean, now all of our lives, everything we do is recorded,
documented.
You know, I've got 10,000 photos on my phone. I'm sure you have. You know, it's difficult when you've got children and you just take snaps of them all the time, and then you come back and you've just got a million. You know, which ones do I put in the album?
Yeah.
We're living completely different lives now, and it's something that I accept for myself. That recording, you know, that I don't need to be afraid of things that are recorded. But you know, that's a flip that I've had to make in my mind. I think people our age maybe do find that more difficult than the younger people.
I agree.
But then you see, we would go to an interview and probably be okay, because we understand in an interview context, you're there to sell yourself, to answer questions. Whereas the younger people who are very happy TikToking every aspect of their lives, putting that out there, they go into an interview and
it's a funny,
can't do it.
It is a funny scenario. I think what I always try and tell my friends and my customers and people who do podcast with us, like, most of the stuff that's being recorded isn't there to try and catch you out. And obviously, I always say when we're working with clients, like, we're not the BBC here. We're not journalists. We're here to make something to make you look great, to make your business look great.
So the stress response as described earlier is exactly the same, because you're not outnumbered in terms of eyes. That's one good thing about it. But, you know, you do have the uncertainty and you do have the social judgment thing. You know, what are other people going to think? People our age have that awful thing of, you know, you've known so many people in your life. It's like, what if so-and-so from school sees me doing, like, what are they going to think about it? You know, everybody has... Which we shouldn't have.
I'm too old to
care.
Which
we shouldn't have. But people do. People, you know, social judgment is a big thing. As I say, it's very deeply rooted, and you know, it's something that we all feel. But it's exactly the same. One thing I always say to people is start with a smile, and it's the same thing on stage. Start with a smile. The benefits of smiling. I mean, I actually posted about this the other day because I love smiling so much. Smiling is brilliant.
It takes less work.
It takes less work, but it not only, you know. As a singer, you know, we use smiling as a technique, because smiling, it lifts your back of your soft palate, you know, it creates more space for your vocal tone. It literally physically creates a warmer and a brighter sound. So you're onto a winner there. You know, if you're making a video for yourself, make sure you're not sort of talking like this, because it's, really lift everything up and you'll get a nice bright sound for starters. Because we know, don't we, that sound quality is super. People forgive the visuals, but sound quality needs
Vital.
to be really good.
I actually think sound for me, sound is 80% of video content.
And the quality of the voice tone as well. People of our generation can talk on the phone because you can, we recognize voices very easily. We have such complex, sound processing going on. So we really like a full sound. We like to be able to hear what's going on. We don't want to hear the voice like it's coming from a distance. So when we smile and we produce a really nice resonant tone, that immediately makes the viewer feel safer and more interested.
100%. And that's where, for me, AI falls down in sound. Because what it can't do is the rise and fall. What it can't do is really sell a point and put the pauses where you want it to be.
Yeah.
Leave a bit of silence. Just for dramatic pause. It can't do that.
The emotion of the voice tone is quite phenomenal. And the way that the voice, so the larynx is very intricately interconnected with the vagus nerve, which is basically the big nerve that controls your rest and digest systems. It's super important for keeping you balanced. And it runs either side of the larynx. And this is why our emotions are so visible through our voices. So, for example, if I were to tear up a little bit and put on a really sad face and then start talking like this, you would think I was about to cry. And this is simply because I'm putting my voice down into my larynx. And the larynx, so you often hear that when someone is about to start crying, they hear a crack, and then they'll come back and you hear another crack. And they're really upset, and you start sort of, oh, they're really upset.
Yeah.
And this is because our voice and our emotions are so, do you know what I mean? That
interlinked,
our voice basically reveals us. Reveals us in lots of ways, in sort of identity, even sort of class, region, where we come from. The voice is very revealing generally. But when we're talking about making videos for business, so again, I go back to what I said ages and ages ago, if you're at networking and the way you speak about your business sounds like you don't really know what you're talking about, that's what people are going to take away. And it's the same with the videos. So when people are making videos for themselves, if they're doing self-shooting or whatever, definitely smile. Even if you're sort of panicking a little bit and you don't really like doing it, smile anyway, because if you come across as being quite dour and very serious, but people aren't going to warm to you. They're probably not going to want to use your business.
What would 3 good tips from Kaffy be?
I think smiling is so important. It's important for the voice tone. Smiling also has a massive effect on your own mood. So just making yourself smile sends messages to your brain, I'm okay, and then hopefully you get onto that spiral of, yay, this isn't so bad, I'm doing okay. And it has, because of mirror neurons, so it makes other people, so when I smile, you smile, so when we are smiling on our video, if someone is watching us talk about our business, they will also be smiling, either physically or you smile inside because of mirror neurons. So there's literally nothing bad about smiling. Definitely smile.
Are the mirror neurons the reason why everyone yawns if you say yawn?
Yes.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
I still can't work out why. If you see, even talking about yawning now, I'm like, might yawn. It's weird.
Well, and that's why we respond. Other people crying, we start to cry. We're more interconnected as people than I think we in our adult world think we are. We're very, very affected by the emotions of other people. And a difficult interaction with somebody at the start of the day, that can colour your whole day. We really respond emotionally to people around us. So yes, smile and laugh. Laughs are infectious. Right, that's one thing. I would say try to produce your tone sort of high in your face. Not nasal, we don't want nasal voices, but sort of high in the face. So using chest resonance, but feeling it high. Because as I say, what people do sometimes is they let the voice drop back. And you have people that have a pattern where they'll start talking here and then they'll drop back. And then they'll start talking here and then they'll drop back. And it's quite difficult to listen to those kind of voices. But if you're making a video, particularly if you're going to be cutting that video,
yes,
you want your voice tone to
nice and
roughly,
consistent. Yeah.
Across it. And obviously you don't want to do some of the recording here and then some of the recording here, but that's a technical thing. Yeah, so trying to produce the voice high. One thing you can do to help yourself with this is to say Nyah. Can you say Nyah?
Nyah.
Nyah. Because the n and the yeah. So it's getting it, you basically feel the sound like it's sort of behind your top teeth. Nyah, 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 nyah. So if you're, about to start doing your recording, you know, kind of going nyah, 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 and then start, and you'll find that you place the voice quite nicely.
Okay.
I'd recommend.
Great tip.
Recommend
That's a
that.
great tip.
Well, yeah.
Nyah. I like that.
Can you feel it if you go nyah?
Yeah.
Nyah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Do you feel it sort of?
Yeah,
Put your fingers here. Do you feel nyah?
Yeah, it's like a resonance.
Yeah. So sound waves, as you know, sound waves are the physical things.
Yeah.
So what we're wanting the most resonance. So we naturally use our chest resonance, but we're wanting to use the resonance that we've got available to us in our face. And as I say, when you have a lovely, warm, resonant tone, because some people think, oh, just speak really low and you'll sound really authoritative. It's not really about having a low-pitched voice. It's about having wherever your pitch is. So my pitch is about here, and that's where I would have my most resonant tone. Some people have higher. That's fine. It's not. Do you know what I mean? It's not where your pitch is.
Yeah.
It's
just using
your
your
anatomy.
voice.
Yeah. So then, relax the shoulders down. Keep your shoulders away from your ears, and use your hands. We use our hands naturally when we're speaking, and then what happens is when you get up in front, when you're on a stage, or you go on the camera, and suddenly everybody's, you know, it's very, very stiff, and that's not normal. Relax. Use your hands if you can. If you're doing self-shooting, try and have your hands in the shot, because when we're speaking to people, we like to see hands. But if I'd done this whole interview like this, you would think I was a bit strange. But we like to see hands, and our hands can be used. Two quick things about hands. If you're saying something that you think other people will agree with, you use symmetrical gestures. So, you know, we've all noticed how AI is doing X, Y, Z. We use symmetrical gestures. If you're wanting to say something which is either controversial or imaginative, or maybe something about your business that people don't know, you would use head tilts, and you would use asymmetrical gestures and more movement. Because subconsciously, if I start making loads of weird movements, but if I just start moving around and I'm using asymmetry, your brain is having to compute all of these movements that I'm making. And so your brain waves are going, oh, this is interesting. I'll pay more attention to this. As opposed to if I speak in a sort of sing-song way and I use very symmetrical gestures, now your brain is trying to calm down and you're wanting to naturally agree with me.
Do you have a favourite movie?
I would probably put the original, we've talked about this, the original Star Wars movies. Probably the Back to the Future movies. And Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
All brilliant.
Yeah.
All brilliant.
As a complete tangent, Sense and Sensibility.
Are you a fan of a box set?
Box sets that have to go either Parks and Rec or
very good.
The American Office.
Kaffy, I could talk to you all day because we like the same stuff.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for joining me. Thanks for taking time out.
You're welcome.
And I hope business continues to be brilliant.
Thank you very much.
And I'll see you very, very soon.
You shall.